this thing working? Give me some sound over here.
Yeah.
The Out of Bounds Show is powered by the award-winning golf courses at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
If you're looking to buy some land, hunting camp, fishing cabin, you name it, go with Michael Oswalt. Tom Smith Land and Homes. He's the guy. Michael Oswalt, Tom Smith Land and Homes. His number is 601-898-2772. If you're in the market selling or buying, hunting camp, fishing cabin, lake house, you name it, Michael Oswalt, Tom Smith Land and Homes. Also, the show is brought to you by Went McGee, the mortgage man. If you're shopping for home, townhouse, condo, refinancing your home, Went McGee, mortgagemanms.com. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Want to welcome in Bama Insider, Tuscaloosa. He is Ryan Fowler on the Coors Light guest line. Ryan, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Man, I'm doing awesome. I hope you guys are having a great morning as well. And, you know, we're preparing for this big game and Nick Saban's birthday and Halloween and a lot of activities here in Tuscaloosa.
Are you talking more about Bama football or the fact that Auburn may have to fire Gus Malzahn?
Well, we enjoy picking up on our little brother a little bit, so we've had a little fun. We spent, I mean, no kidding, just like a college football show, like what you guys do. Our first 2 days this week, we recapped Alabama, Tennessee, but the one that got people fired up the most is the officials kind of screwing Ole Miss earlier, this past weekend. That was a big topic in Tuscaloosa. A lot of people wanted to chime in, and we kind of had Lane Kiffin's back over here.
Well, and that's because, one, I guess Kiffin is pretty well liked over there because he had a successful run, and two, people probably feel like if they'd have made the right call, then Auburn would have lost, right? Sure.
And Auburn is sitting here at 3-2, and they're a false positive. They're just not a 3-2 football team. No, I mean, look at them. Look at the things the breaks that they have been able to survive. So if you're sitting there as an Auburn fan, you're going, well, we haven't got here because we're good at 3-2. We've got here because we've had some help from Birmingham at the SEC Instant Replay office. And I mean, this goes back several games. So that's a trend. I think it finally catches up with them again this weekend. I think LSU is going to win this game, and I think we're seeing, Las Vegas kind of react to that too. Auburn opened up as the favorite, and now it's pushed up to a 2.5 with LSU. So I'm not here trying to give you a 5-star lock of the week. I wouldn't put any money on 18, 19-year-old kids, but I do like LSU. But if the public goes one way, normally you got to go the other because the other way usually wins.
Sure.
So that's another thing you factor in.
Well, that's true. Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, T-Town, joining us on the Coors Light guest line, Bama Insider, and Bama is rolling. What about Steve Sarkisian, man? I mean, this guy is – I know Bama has more talent than anybody else, but still, this offense is humming. What do you see in Sark 2 in Tuscaloosa?
This is going to freak people out, but I think this offense is better under Mac Jones than it was under Tua Tagovailoa. Let me explain why.
Okay.
Tua always looks for the home run shot, and if I had an arm like that, I probably would too. But what the difference between Mac Jones and, you go back to A.J. McCarron, you go back to Greg McElroy, you go back to Jacob Coker, Blake Sims did this. When you can get to a quarterback of take what the defense will give you, I think at times Tua tried to force that long ball to go deep because it's a highlight reel, right? I mean, that's those guys love that. I mean, that's where he's accustomed to play. Nothing against him. He may be the most talented quarterback that's ever played in Tuscaloosa. But I think the offense now with Mac Jones, he's taking what the defense will give you, And I think he's running the football at times, those RPOs. He's making the right decision. But this offense, I don't think anybody could have imagined, we could have had the biggest Mac Jones fan possible. I mean, we could have probably interviewed his mother, and I'm not sure his mother thought that he would have this many yards going into the the break here of the bye week. I mean, he's 95 yards away from 2,000, and he's just spreading the love. And he's finding guys that maybe this offense was designed to do. But I think Sark is earning the money. He's the highest-paid coordinator in all of college football, and I think he's showing why.
Is he higher paid than Venables at Clemson?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sark.
I mean, I could double-check. Because, see, Dave Aranda was that guy last year. And I can look real quick.
No, well, I got Blake on it.
Wise.
I got Blake on it.
Okay, yeah.
Ryan Fowler, Roll Tide Insider, on the from Tuscaloosa, 109 The Game, host Afternoon Drive. Ryan joins us on the Coors Light guest line. Bama's rolling. Yeah, I was very vocal that I didn't think Bama would put themselves in position to win a natty this year, both on this show and when I go on Ryan's show. And looks like I was wrong. Offense wins the day, man. It almost doesn't matter what you're doing on defense if you're as good as they are on offense. So we'll see.
We'll go back to Nick Saban last Friday night. I don't want to jump in here, but Chris Lowe interviewed Nick Saban. I assume that was probably in Knoxville. He has a great relationship with Nick, and he said, defense no longer wins the games. You've got to have elite offense. And I know that's hard for a lot of us to adjust to, but as he said, what overrides it, and he concedes that offense now wins championships. I mean, he told Chris Lowe, if you don't have an offense, you're not going to be able to win in the current direction of college football. And so that's a big statement. I know you and I, Dave Bartu, and many others have talked about it. Mike Detillier, I know it's on your show and my show, and we've talked about it. If I offered you an elite offense or an elite defense, what would you take? Nick Saban kind of helped us answer that question last week.
It is amazing. A former defensive back in Nick Saban and what he has done on the offensive side of the football at Roll Tide. Ryan Fowler joining us on the Out of Bounds show. You're listening to 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're streaming right now. You can watch the show. Go to YouTube, search Out of Bounds Sports. What's going on with I know the defense has to play good at some point against Clemson or Ohio State, maybe even Florida in the SEC championship game. We'll see. Do you expect this D to just get a little bit better over the next month and a half, Ron?
You kind of hope if you're an Alabama perspective, when you take a look at what Alabama has been able to do up until this point, you kind of hope they do what LSU did last year. We threw a lot of stones at their defense and, said, are they going to be good enough to win a championship? I don't think you have to be great, but, Nick Saban called his defense average at best. Now, I'm sure some of that's probably a motivation factor, but, that's one of the comments that he made with Chris Lowe. But you listen to this defense, they've got communication problems. And I know you and I look at this game different on Saturday. I think Mississippi State's going to test them in some areas. Yeah, I think Alabama's going to win, but this 31-point side of things, when you look at a quality defense that Mississippi State's going to bring here, but I think they're going to test the secondary. And one of the areas that I think Alabama's had problems is communication, trying to find a way to get everybody on the same page. Because if you've got 10 guys on one page and that one guy's on another page, all 11 look bad. They've had some communications, and it's not just been this year. They've had communications in the past that has kind of prevented them from maybe reaching their maximum potential under Pete Golding. I don't think he's an elite defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's not.
I think, he's a guy that I think is always a step behind. And I think when he goes up against the Lane Kiffins of the world, he kind of shows where he is a step behind. And even Nick Saban said that in the postgame. So this defense is not where it needs to be. They've got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback. They have not been able to do that. They're one of the worst teams in college football at finding a way to get to the quarterback.
Well, Mississippi State will be a good remedy for that. So, Ryan Fowler, Roll Tide Insider. Listen to this, Fowler. You may have seen, I'm sure you have. Alabama is a favorite for the 73rd straight game, the longest streak of the FBS era. Alabama has been an underdog once since 2010, 144 games. That was from Cole Kubelik.
Yeah, and actually, we had Brad Edwards, which is a big Jackson, Mississippi guy.
He's my dude, man.
We feature him. He's awesome, dude. He told us this earlier, but I've got to go back a little bit, Bo, and I've heard that stat, and what they point to is that Georgia-Alabama 2015 game up in the rain. Matter of fact, Jeremy Pruitt would have been on the other sidelines for the Dogs, so he would have been on the opposing team. Alabama opened up as an underdog that week. But as the week progressed, Alabama became a slight favorite before kickoff, and so right before kickoff, they were a 1-point favorite. So it went from I think a -2 for Georgia. It went all the way down to a pick'em, and then it flipped Alabama as the favorite. So I don't know if they're looking at that opening line that was definitely Alabama on the underdog side of things. But I think right before that game kicked, because if you remember, that was the hurricane, rain, all that soaking field. That was also the game that Georgia kind of prevented Alabama from coming out of the locker room. Not sure if you remember that. The guy
I do.
Kind of blocked Alabama's tunnel. That was that game that they're talking about.
That didn't work out for Georgia.
No, it didn't. Not at all. I would not advise that to anybody. Don't poke the bear, man. Just play them straight up and try to find a way to get in their head another way.
Oh, man, Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, T-Town, joining us. Bama Insider. He's on the Coors Light guest line. Coors Light, made to chill. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Stayed at Bama, 31-32 points. Bama's the favorite. Bama's going to roll. It's just a matter of what the number looks like. Should you take the first half line? Maybe, as Bama could get out of the gate. Is it 18, Blakey Blake?
I believe that's what it was yesterday.
Yesterday it was around 18. Bama should get out of the gate, hard charging and fast. I think I'd go with the first half money line, Fowler.
Me too. That's where I would go. I think Alabama will do it, and I think they'll listen. You got to keep this in mind. Nick Saban talked about this earlier this week. This Alabama team is a little physically beat up. They've got Deontay Brown, one of their big guards that'll play in the NFL. He kind of came out of the game in Tennessee. That's been a question. LeBron Ray, Nick Saban's already told us that they're going to hold him out. And he's a guy that kind of puts pressure a little bit on the quarterback. So you look at injuries, but physically, the toll of playing 5 straight SEC games, this will be number 6, is a little but of a challenge for Alabama. So they haven't had a bye week. They'll get that next week before LSU. That's another part that you got to kind of find a way to kind of calculate all this together.
Blake, you've got a question for Roll Tide Insider Ryan Fowler.
Yeah, Ryan, you mentioned about Mac Jones and how you feel like the offense may be operating more within its, white lines, so to speak, with Mac, whether that translates to it being better or not with Tua. Is Mac Jones getting the Joe Burrow, jump to the top of the list treatment in what he's doing this year with the stats that he's putting up? And we're going to go from Mac Jones was not a draftable quarterback to now we'll see his name called on day 1 or day 2?
Well, and I've kind of asked Mike and many others as far as what kind of status, he goes up. They kind of use that Joe Burrow in the summer of not being on the draft board or not being high enough and then kind of working his way up. But I think on the national side, I don't know if Matt gets the credit that he deserves, the way that he's kind of orchestrating this offense of just stepping in and doing things. But, the one key for Joe Burrow, and I think he kind of explained this in some media opportunities, when you have to – see, Mac finished up school, so he's done with it as of last December. And so now you're able to do grad work just to keep, eligible, right? I'm sure he's working on some type of master's degree, but I think a lot of that can be done online. So the issue is Mac is kind of like an NFL guy, just like Joe Burrow was spending time in the film room. I think that's where Mac Jones has also been able to go, okay, let me take my game to the next level. And I think this maybe can encourage some of these quarterbacks not to transfer out, not to hit that transfer portal, to stay at different places and develop their game, work on what they need to work on. So I think Mac Jones is getting a lot of credit. That Joe Burrow name is being compared quite often, with some of the Alabama fans. And listen, Joe was he got my Heisman vote last year. When he came to Tuscaloosa and did what he did, I came back on a Monday and said, hey, guys, that's who I'm voting for on the Heisman Trophy, and I'll look silly if I don't. But you look at Mac Jones, he could earn this thing, especially with a Trevor Lawrence out this weekend. And, if there's a chance that, he might miss 2 games. If he does, then that gives chance for Mac Jones to kind of get some more of that eyes of college football in.
Ryan Fowler, 109 the game, Tuscaloosa, joining us on the Coors Light guest line, Bama Insider. Well, you're going to be at the game tomorrow night, so let's see. I don't guess you're dressing up for Halloween, huh?
Yeah, and it's one of those days. I guess we're going to have to accomplish a lot things. I'm going to put the bowl of candy out here, and probably some little mean Munchkin will come by and he'll take the whole entire bowl from a candy. But we're going to go the honor route tomorrow here at the Fowler household.
Oh, okay. Well, if you didn't have to work,
if I was that kid, I'd probably do the same thing. I mean, I'd take all those Snickers bars and put it in my bag, and the Fowlers didn't leave any candy out of them. So.
All right, if you didn't have to work, do you have anybody you dress up as?
Wow. Well, I'm pretty crazy, and I forget a lot of stuff, and sometimes I don't even know my name. I think I would be a good character for Joe Biden. I think that's who I'd dress up as. I would, I'd have all these Biden moments, just making all sorts of crazy statements. I'd introduce my dog, as my cat. Hey, look, this is my cat. I mean, this is my dog. So those are I would probably dress up as Joe Biden.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Well, there you go. Ryan Fowler, Bama Insider on the Coors Light guest line. Blake, what do you have?
Yeah, I want to stay with the trick-or-treat theme and ask you this question, Ryan. This Saturday, does Jimbo Fisher get a trick or a treat when he faces up against Barry Odom's defense?
They going to pull an upset, Fowler?
Guys, I'm seeing a little something, a little life out there with Texas A&M. They've invested, and they want to pay off. I mean, can they walk the dog and kind of be this second-place team in the SEC West and, have that one blemish against Alabama? I'm really impressed, though. And I think, Bo, you were the first one who kind of talked about what Sam Pittman would be able to do at Arkansas. He may be the biggest surprise so far when you look at the Razorbacks. These guys are playing physical football. I kind of like what Arkansas is doing. Hey, we don't have to be everybody else. We can just be who we are. I still take Texas A&M. That game's in College Station, right? It's in College Station?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12.5, I think is where it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably lean Texas A&M, but I'm impressed with Sam Pittman in Arkansas.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, buddy. Well, look, have a good weekend. Tomorrow night's going to be a snooze fest for you, but just make sure somebody wakes you up in the press box.
I will do my best. I'll do my best, man. You guys have an awesome rest of your day, and for those state fans coming over, leave those cowbells at home, man. My head's already hurting.
Ryan, thanks, Ryan. Be good, buddy.
Thank you.
Ryan Fowler, 109 the game, Tuscaloosa, and he's got afternoon drive there. Does a great job in T-Town.
I didn't think about how mad half the state of Alabama was about that play call or that kickoff call. I don't think about that.
Auburn should have lost.
Yeah.
So they think.
For 5 weeks, 3 times they've gone Auburn should have lost.
Sure.
If you're asking Tuscaloosa, if you're asking Alabama fans, Auburn should be 0-5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Refs gave them Kentucky, Arkansas, and Ole Miss.
Gus is living right. I don't know what he's been doing. Maybe it's the Waffle House thing.
High on the hog.
High on the hog. Yeah.
That's what they say.
And so let's switch gears here. Is it National Breadsticks Day?
It is National Breadstick Day.
I love a good breadstick as long as it's not greasy. Blake?
You want it buttery but not greasy.
Yeah.
It's got to be soft.
I like to err on the side of
you want it drier.
Yes.
That's a problem with you.
Yes. But here's the deal. To me, the kicker is the red sauce that you dip it in. And if it's excellent, then Fertizzi's red sauce is amazing.
There you go.
All right. So if you get a good breadstick, or the crust of their pizza, but whatever. Then boom, you're playing. And look, does it get any better than a cold beer, like a Parish Canebrake brew, or an Abita pecan ale, and a good breadstick and some good red sauce?
All right, so you go breadstick with the red sauce. I think of like the more modern day breadstick now.
Oh,
is like the way Bravo does it, where you get the like focaccia bread or something cut into the and you dip it in the olive oil.
I'm with you.
With the
Now, Bravo is going to serve you one that's not greasy, that is cooked like I like it.
But it still has the butter in there. It's
a
good.
little bit,
yeah,
but
it's
it doesn't
good.
take.
Then
you
you dip it in the olive oil, Parmesan,
I'm with you.
pepper, and the key to olive oil with bread is putting the balsamic vinegar in there. That's what takes it from, oh, this is nice bread and olive oil, to like, wow, my mouth just melted on my face.
I agree with you.
Ugh, I'm gonna go eat some breadsticks.
I'm trying to think. Well, obviously, you just mentioned Bravo has a wonderful focaccia bread, which is a bread. You know,
So-
who else in the metro area?
We talked about this growing up for me, and obviously when you probably right before you had kids / right when they were really young, Olive Garden was that was like the place.
So 2000, if you take me back to 2000 when Olive Garden was unbelievable,
it was killing it,
right?
man.
From 95 to 2000, whenever that was.
It was prime back in the day.
They did. They had good breadsticks.
And you got the endless salad and breadsticks.
Yeah.
And so you just felt like a king.
Well, see, I was traveling then.
And they're
sales,
everywhere. They're everywhere.
So I was hitting Olive Gardens throughout wherever I was.
Every interstate seems to have an Olive Garden on it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Bravo with the olive oil and
you know
the
what
balsamic.
I had last night? I had the antipasta and wings from Salad Mookie's.
Because we talked about Salad
I
Mookie's
know
yesterday.
I couldn't help it.
You can't go wrong.
I couldn't help it. It was one. That's a great game day spread. Speaking of game day, Boar's Head. If you're looking for all kinds of amazing meats and cheeses and hummus, Boar's Head will take care of you. Pretty much any grocery store. If they don't have it, you're not shopping at the right one. But all the ones around here have loaded up on Boar's Head. So whether you're looking at a delicious club sandwich at the house, on some toasted bread and delicious tomato and lettuce and maybe some spicy mustard and some jalapenos and so on. When it's game day, it's Boar's Head and delicious. Oh, Nathan made a Boar's Head pizza with all their pepperoni and all the other meats that they have. It looked amazing. I'll throw that out on Twitter at Bo Bounds. The show is driven by the Continental Tires at 49 Tire. You don't want to go in and wait, right, at your tire shop. And so 49 Tire has a valet service. They'll come pick up your car or vehicle from your home or office, do whatever, service it, tires, maintenance under the hood. Then they'll drop it back off to you. 49 Tire in Richland, Mississippi, and their valet service in the metro area. Thanks for listening to the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Brought to you by Juniker Jewelry Store. Engagement wedding rings. That's the place to go. Juniker Jewelry Store in Madison, Highland Colony. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. We'll recap the week.